here to explain what Republicans can actually get done in a new Congress. Florida Congressman Byron and Michael Waltz. Congressman Donalds, let me start with you. You heard my conversation with Tulsi. We do know what's going on at the border. I'm still concerned that the majority of the Americans maybe don't realize the severity of what's happening at the border. They keep getting gaslit by Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre, who says the border's closed. No, it's not. And this is a dramatic, having a dramatic impact on every American's life. So in January, what will the Republicans do, considering what's happened with now the spending bill? What's on tap here? What can we expect, sir?
Well, look, first of all, it's good to be with you. Merry Christmas to everybody. I share your concerns because it's not just the administration. It is the big media that has conditioned the American people to not understand the complexities of what's happening at the border. You couple that with the Senate deal, which was passed basically with a twink and a nod, allowing this program to continue. House Republicans are going to be hamstrung by this spending bill because what are the leverage points to actually require the Biden administration to actually secure the border? A couple things that can be done. Number one, give border agents the ability to make credible threats of fear at the border. Number two, don't allow people to make asylum claims at the southern border. If you do those two things, that will actually limit the capabilities of people to use the drug cartels to come into the United States. But it's not a good situation. In part media and yet Senate Republicans, them passing this omnibus deal with the Democrats have really put us behind the eight ball about what to do with border security.
Well, Congressman Waltz, this is where you do have to get creative. We see the Democrats all the time being very creative. You got to give them, some credit for that. There's got to be ways to achieve certain things using other parts of the budget, using other kinds of legislation. What do you see happening starting in January?
Well, I agree with everything Representative Donald said, but I think we need to take things even a step further. We need to designate these cartels that are behind all of it as either a terrorist organization or a terrorist-like organization.
Great idea.
We need to put sanctions on Chinese companies that we know are producing fentanyl as part of their asymmetric warfare to kill Americans, working with international criminal organizations, including the Mexican cartels. So that's step two. And then, personally, as a member of the Armed Services Committee and as a veteran, we need to be using military assets. I'm not talking boots on the ground, but cyber, space assets, and other things that we can be doing to jam the cartels, disrupt their organization, go after their money, and shut them down. We did it years ago to the cartels in Colombia, and we can do it again if we have the will. And then finally, Tammy, there is going to be a North American Leaders Summit on January 9th and 10th with Trudeau, Biden, and President Obrador. That is an opportunity right there to put Mexico on notice that they need to put their National Guard on their southern border, stop shipping these migrants through to create our problem, and that we're going to put Remain in Mexico back in place. I doubt we're going to see that from Biden, but all three will be sitting down. Trudeau's talking about electric vehicles and climate.
Right.
We have to talk about the humanitarian crisis. January 9th and 10th, North American Leader Summit called the Three Amigos Summit. But we'll see what Biden does.
Well, and this is where, for Representative Donalds, I think that this is an opportunity where if you're waiting for men like that to do something, it's useless, it's hopeless. That Congress, that House Republicans can have some kind of an action or a delegation or a demand or some legislation on the heels of that. There's got to be something creative to push this along. We know that the House of Representatives of the United States government has power, and the Republicans have to wield it.
Well, look, Tammy, I'm going to tell you, the next big vehicle, in my view, that's going to come across might be the debt ceiling. That might be the next big one. Whatever that leverage is, whatever that lever is in Congress, we need to make sure that we make border security the number one thing that's on the agenda. And so for, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle who now all of a sudden want to start talking about the border because the midterm elections are now over, I asked them, where have you been? Where were you in August, September, and October? Immigration policy per se is not the issue. It is about securing the border. And where my colleague is absolutely correct, the drug cartels are going to make $15 billion this year trafficking people and fentanyl into the United States of America.
Awful.
It is unconscionable, and we must stand with whatever that lever is. We need to use it to make sure we secure the homeland here in the United States.
Gentlemen, the American people gave the Republicans the House of Representatives for a reason. They want to see something happen. This is a test. This is not a hard test, right? We just need to implement the law as it stands and fund the ability for the Border Patrol and law enforcement in general to do their jobs. Gentlemen, Congressman, thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.